Yeah, welcome once again to our class. So in this week 8, we are going to continue with our React classes. Recall that last week we learned how to install React and how to create a component and style a component using CSS and SAS. But in this week we are going to continue with React by learning how to style our React component with Tailwind. Now, just like I explained earlier, when you are doing a job, you can decide any of these 3 methods of styling CSS that you understand best to do your project. So you can decide to use normal CSS, you can decide to use the CSS module, you can decide to use SAS, or you can decide to use Tailwind. Why I taught you all of them is you might not feel comfortable with one, but you might feel comfortable with another one. So in this video I'm going to show you how to style a component with Tailwind. Now, Tailwind is a package. Remember what a package is. A package is a package is a group of code that a person or group of person have written down in order for you to use to solve a particular or do a particular task in your project. So the aim of this Tailwind is a CSS framework for styling, not just in React but even in normal HTML. So it makes styling very much easier. So it's a package, you need to install it. Then when we install it, I'll show you how to use the Tailwind CSS doc, because it has its own way of styling. So to see there are various things you have to learn. So I'll show you how to use the doc, which is the documentation. It's very easy to use. Then styling with a Figma guide, then adding a custom color, the font family, the font size, etc. Then making it responsive. So remember that Tailwind is a CSS framework because it does much heavy lifting for you. Is one thing about Tailwind is that it makes your styling more flexible, more accurate. So that's why I love it, because it gives you that room to be pixel perfect. So we'll learn all of that in this video. So let's begin with the installation of Tailwind. So we'll go back to our project. So each time you want to open up your folder again, maybe you finish working for the day and shut down your system, or you close the VS Code, you want to open it again, you open you locate the folder where you have your React downloaded. So this is the React I want to open. Then I'll just right click it, so you can open it in terminal. So if you're using Windows, you can use git bash here, or you can open it normally on your VS Code by using the open with code. But if you want to follow me along, just locate the folder where you previously downloaded your React. Then you click on open in terminal, then you write code space dot. Now this will open it on your VS Code. Then to start up your VS Code using this terminal, to start up your React using the terminal which you opened your React project, you type npm run dev and hit enter. Then if you don't want to use this terminal again, you want to use the VS Code terminal, it's still okay. So you can come to your terminal section here, new terminal. Then once it opens the terminal, I think I'll press on plus, don't know why it's showing me here, so let me okay, it's correct. So I think I'll press npm run dev. So if I hit enter, it will open this on my terminal, but because I already have it opened here, so there's no need of doing that. So that is how you open a React folder after if you want to start the next day. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to go to this terminal, click, I'll hold my control, hover here and tap this. So if I do that, it's going to open our React project. Now in case you cannot, yours is not working, you can manually type this on your terminal. So http://localhost then :5173/ that will open your the React. So these are the things that we learned in our last class. So this is the playground, so that's why it looks like this. So what we want to do now is to install our Tailwind. So we are going to search. So as part of being a developer, remember the qualities of a good developer, you must know how to do research, you must know how to teach yourself. So for us to install Tailwind, I already have my offline documentation. So that is one of the technique I use once I'm learning something new. I have an offline database for anything I understand, especially if it's not straightforward, so that whenever I want to do that same thing, I'll easily refer to my offline documentation. But now I'm going to show you the online documentation, which is very straightforward. So we are going to use that one. So I'll just type adding Tailwind to React Byte. So I've already typed that before, React Byte. So if I hit enter, it's going to open this install Tailwind CSS with files. So just click on this link and it's going to open this page. So it's pretty straightforward. So they have given you the first step. Now this first step is if you have not installed your Byte. So remember this line of code. Remember when we were installing our Byte, we first of all installed this. But if you've not installed Byte before, you should check if you have Node installed. So they just assume that you have Node installed, and that is where you can use npm. But if you don't have Node installed, you can use npm. So because we have installed this and we have already we have already opened our project in our current terminal, so we'll just go to this step. But in case you want to follow this step, maybe you want to start afresh, you must install your node first. Then when you install your node, so if you want to install node, it's pretty straightforward. Just type node download. So that is, so you install node download, you click on this, then if I'm using Linux, so I can install node using my terminal, so I'll follow this. But if you're using Windows, you can click on pre-built installer, install the one for your operating system, so you can select. So by default is on Windows. Then after you finish installing, then you can come to your terminal and type npm node -v and interpret that the node version, then npm -v. So you see, when you install your node, it comes with npm, which is node package manager. Remember, a package is a code solution made by a person or group of person to help you speed up your development process. So we are installing Tailwind now because we want it to use it to speed up our development process. So I'll just copy this line of code here, go to my terminal. So I'm using Linux, so I can easily split my terminal. So split horizontally and paste that here. But if you're using Windows, you can still do it the same way. So, but what I'll just do now, just to make it easier, I'm going to use the VS Code terminal for the installation. So I'll go back here and I'll right click, then you see paste. So I'll paste these lines of code and hit enter. So after it's finished running a command, it's going to run the next command. So 2 commands it will run. And by the way, make sure you have your internet connected. So just a moment, it's going to download this 3 package, and by the time it finishes, you're going to see that a Tailwind config will be here. So just a moment, so it has finished running the first command. I think it's going over to run the next one. So you see the Tailwind config as shown. Now it's showing green because I've already pushed this. I've already pushed this to this GitHub. So U means on track. So we are done with that process of installation, but we are not done with adding Tailwind to our project. So the next part now is go to your tailwind.config.js, the one that we just downloaded, and copy all of this and paste there. So that is what I'm going to do. So I'll click this and copy that. So I'll go back to, so now that we are done with this terminal, I can close it, so by dragging it down, then go to my tailwind.config. So I'll just do Ctrl A and Ctrl V. So what this line is actually telling you that our Tailwind can work in our index.html and from our source folder, and that makes sense because most of what we are doing is inside the source folder. But in case you need to add any Tailwind from your HTML, then it will also be available. So you save that. Then I think the last thing for us to do now is this. You go to your index.css, copy these lines of code and put there. So it's pretty straightforward. So let's go to our index.css. Remember that file, so it's here. So we already have something there, so just put it at the top, just like the code documentation. So we have that. Then we save. Now if you go back to the documentation, you run npm, you type npm on there, which you have already done. Then we'll just copy this is a Tailwind styling. We are adding a text size or a font size of I think this is more than 16 pixels, then a font of bold, and it should be underlined to H1. So I'll just copy this, Ctrl+C, just to test our Tailwind. Then so you can do that in your app.js. So let's go back to our code. So inside our app.js, at the bottom part of it, I'm going to paste that. So if we see this styling, then we know that our Tailwind is fully installed. So let's do that. So I'll go to my React tutorial, scroll down. So I'm only seeing hello world, but I'm not seeing this. So let me try refreshing. So what I need to do is I need to stop the terminal and run it again. That way it can pick up, and that is one of the ways to debug your React in case it's not working. Actually, when you install a new package, so Ctrl+C to close that terminal. If I want, I can clear the terminal. npm run dev. So this way it will pick up the installation of Tailwind, and that way we'll get our expected results. So let's wait for it to refresh. So if we scroll down, now we are seeing that it has shown. So just to test again, so if I come here and add text, red, so if I want to get more help, I'm going to type so I think it's test red. Let's use 700. So there's an extension we need to install, but it's not coming up, so we are going to install that very soon. So let's check this. So it's actually working. So there is a Tailwind extension we need to install. In that way we'll have some IntelliSense help to speed up our typing process in Tailwind. So let's look for that extension before we move to the next one. So I'll just scroll down to my extension. So we are going to install this extension. It's called Tailwind CSS IntelliSense by Tailwind Labs. So I've already installed that, so please install this Tailwind CSS IntelliSense. So that is the extension you need to install. That way, by the time it activates, is going to show the color behind this, and by the time I'm typing my Tailwind CSS, it's going to give me some helpful suggestions. So that is it. We are done with the first step, which is installing. So by the time you start watching this video, before you move to the next step, make sure that you're having the same output with me, just like this. So now we can get rid of that and continue with the rest of the slide. So now using Tailwind docs. So now Tailwind is just like this React. It has its own way of doing some things. So it has some powerful documentation where you can learn much about Tailwind. So I'll come here and Tailwind doc. So just type Tailwind CSS. So if I come here, so I think let's go to the docs. So one of the drawback of Tailwind is that it have a deep learning curve, but I will make it very simple. So let's say I want to learn how to use Tailwind to add a color. So I've come to the Tailwind documentation and I'm seeing this. So this is customization. Let's see. So it has so many things: grid, typography. So now you see text color. So if I want to add a color to a text or anything color, so let's go here. So I can add my text to white. So if you just type text, then the hyphen white, so that will give you a text of white. So if you want to give there are some variation, you're going to do that. So gray. So this is how you add a text. So text and the name of the text. Now if you're using Tailwind IntelliSense, you can get some default color for free, but you can add your own custom color. So that is how you add a text. So I'm going to do that now. So let's create a component for our Tailwind playground. So I'm going to create a new component. Call it Tailwind. Tailwind playground dot JSX. And this is meant to be a folder, not a file. Tailwind. Then let's just put it like this. Then we have the first one. Inside here we have a file called text. So we are testing Tailwind, or let's just use this as practice. Practice.jsx. Then we do our RAFCE. So we click this, so this will give you this. So the next thing that we want to do now is we want to start styling this component. So we are going to learn the following about Tailwind. First of all, we are going to learn about text, how to use text, then font size. So virtually everything that you can do in your CSS, you can use Tailwind to do that. So it's just to use the documentation. So font size. Then we're also going to learn how to use flex. You can also use grid too, but I'll teach you flex. Then color. Then what else again? So you can have your border radius, which is rounded. So there are so many stuff. So if we want to go about learning all of this, then this video will be more than 4 hours long, because it's long. So we'll just teach you these basics. Then as we go on in the course, you see me using some other stuff, but the principle is the same. Okay, so let's learn how to add text. So I'll add a H2 here. Stay in the mix. Easy. So if I save this, I'll go to my app.js. I'll call this practice section below here. Practice. So I can easily comment all this so that we can just focus on the table that we're learning. So I'll use automatic import. So the practice now. Practice. So for some reason my error. unknown at Tailwind base. Okay, so I'll just leave this for now, but this is how it normally shows when you import it. But if that is an issue, I'm going to fix it later. Okay, so but for some reason I'm not getting my IntelliSense help, so I have to type manually. So practice. So I believe that is the course. So I've already imported that earlier. So we can save. So if I save now, I'll go to my browsers. So let's be a little faster. So I have Tailwind makes CSS easy. So how do I style this? So let's say I want to give it a color of red. So I'll go to my practice part. Now I can close everything to the right, so that it just only this. So of course I'll use class. So if you, one of the benefits why I like Tailwind is you'll be doing most of your CSS from your HTML markup, and you don't have to be moving from one page to another. So that's why I just like it. So class name, so I want to give this a text of red. So text, I'll give it red. Then maybe 600. So if I add this, if I add the text of red, let's see if it's going to show. So it's not showing because I'm not doing it in the Tailwind. I have to add how bright I want it to be. So if I put 700, so I'm going to see this. So what if I want to make the text come to the center? So if I just put text center, so you see the text is at the center. So what if I want to make the text bold? The text bold. So I will have my text bold. Sorry, no, it's not text bold. You use font bold. So font bold. So I think let me move this to close to the browser. So I have font bold. So what if I want to increase this font size? So text. Now if I want to add my own custom font, so I can use 2XL, which is like 16 pixels. So I have that. But if I want to be pixel perfect and I don't want to use this 2XL, maybe I want to do something like, now if you're using Tailwind unit starts from is an increment of 4. So if I especially for like gap, for like the margin and font size, I'm padding, I will soon show you that one too. So let's say I want to add my own custom font, size from here. So I'll just add this angle bracket, then maybe 30 pixels. So I can use any CSS unit I want here, and it's going to it's still going to be valid. So if I do that, I have 30 pixels. So that is if you want to be pixel perfect. Then what if, let me see if this issue will stop, because I'm not getting the IntelliSense help. So let me comment this out and check. Let me bring up my terminal again. Let me check in my main.css. I still have my index.css code. Let me check this. Still the same thing. Okay, so don't know how to fix that bug now, but it's making the process a little tiring. So let me save this. So the next thing that I want to do now, so we now know how to add our text. So we can add, so we now know how to add the text color, how to make the text center if I want to do the text underline. So using the IntelliSense would have made the work more easier, but I'm just using the one I have from my memory now, which is good. So in case you want to align a text, so if you go to the documentation, you see the various. So you have text left, text this, text right, text justify. So in case you want your text to be underlined, so in case you want your text to be underlined, so what is your text decoration? So you have the underline, you have the overline, you have the line through. So that is how you use the Tailwind this documentation. So the next thing I want to show you is the font size. So I've already showed you the font size. So but if we come to the documentation, let's look at the font size. So if you can't find it, you can use the search feature. So look at the font size. So the font size you can use XL is 12 pixel, then XM 20 pixels. So I think this is the two, but I usually use the pixel one. Okay, this is a line height, so it has this 12 pixel, this is 14 pixel, this is 16 pixel. So just text and this, so that is add that. So that's just the principle. For you hardly add anything in Tailwind by just a word. You have this hyphen, then the degree of what you want to add. So is it 1 pixel? Is it just, that is the principle. So, and this is the expected output that you have. So the Tailwind doc is actually very easy to use. So you just get what you want to do here. So you can copy this line of code and add, and to work exactly in your code. So let's continue. Now the next thing is, let's learn how to add a flex container. So let me, so I want to have some boxes. So div so 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I go to my browser, I'll see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So what if I want to flex this? Again, you can use the Tailwind documentation. So you can look for flex. So I is in the flex basics. So flex, so flex and grid. So let's go to that point. Then let's go to flex. So if you want to add flex to your item, just add flex. So if you copy this code and paste on your work, you can use it to like practice, but mind you, you have this dot, so that is showing that you can add more things there. So you need to remove those dots. So if I do that and go to my output, let's see if we get the expected result. So you see we have the expected result. So let's not use that, but let's just apply that. So I'll do my Ctrl Z. So to add flex, just add first of all flex. So let's see what will happen when we add flex. So I've already added flex. So I'll go back to, so you see, once you just add flex, it makes the content to be in line. So if I go back and do Ctrl Z and save, notice it comes back to the block format. So just adding flex, Ctrl Y does that. Now if you want to give this remember in our CSS, if you want to add flex, you add display flex, align item center, justify content the way you want. So items should be center, then justify, I just put between. So instead of space between, just put between. So that is, we are using Tailwind pre-built classes to style our components. Now, just to explain this further, all these classes exist in Tailwind documentation, and they have a specific thing that they are adding to our project. So this one now is like it's just like in our previous classes where we have an external class. So let me show you that. Books.css. So it's just like me having this in my external CSS, but I've not applied it anywhere. So each time I add this styling to any of my project, as long as it exists in this project, it's going to apply this particular this styling. So when we are using Tailwind, we are using CSS that has already been written, and we are just adding it to our code. So if we want to add a color, there is a class for that. If we want to add maybe a background color, there's a class for that. If we want to add a font size, there's a class for that. So that way you will not worry much about writing the actual CSS, but just using classes. So that is what we are doing here. So if I do this now, I'm going to have this. Now, wouldn't it be nice if we can add a border around this? So let's add a border. So if you want to add border in Tailwind, you can still go to the documentation. So go to border. I think it's arranged in alphabetical order. So the box sizing. So if you can't find it, you just need to look at the border. So if I want to add a border, I'll just, you can add a border radius, you can add border width, you can add border color, you can add border style. So let's go to this. So if you want to add border style, it will be solid and this. So let's say if I want to add a border now, what I'll need to do here is to add border first. So border. Let's see what that does to our code. So it just adds this faint border there of 1 pixel. So if I want to add the border width, so I'll add border 2. Now this means I'm adding a border of 8 pixels. So if I do that, you notice the border width has increased. Now if I want to change the border color, so I'll put border, then I can put maybe blue. If it exists, it's going to show, but if it doesn't exist, it will not show. So it doesn't exist. So I think there is, let me see if I can use 700. So that has shown. So that is how it looks like. So if we want to do the same thing for each of our boxes, then we'll just copy that. And paste here. Then I'll just change the border to, the border type to red. So if I do that, you notice that this is what I will have on my output. I'll have this. So the beauty about this now is, what if I want to give this my parent, this my flex container, a height, so I will see how the align item center works. So I use H. So if you go to the documentation about height, you see that. So H. So I can use, remember the default height unit is 0, then 4 is just like that, a multiple of 4. So if I put 2 now, it means 2 times 4, that is 8. So if I want it to be 40, that means 10. So if I put, so this means it is, the height will be 40 pixel high. So if I do that, go to my browser, I will see this. So if I want it to be 80 pixel high, so let's say I'll put 20 here. So this means it will be very, very high. That is if it exists in the documentation. So see how it looks like now. So what if I want to add my own? Maybe I don't want to use this one. I can just use my square bracket, then I can put 50 VH, so that will still work. So if I do that, I'll see this. Nice. Now what if I want to add a padding to this, so that it does not so that it's not at the edge. So I'm just using this to show us something. Then I can do that. So I can add a padding, that is P. Remember, it is an increment of 4. So if I add 0, means there's no padding. But if I use 4 now, so 4 times 4 is 16, so that means I have 16 pixel padding all around. So if I do that, I will have this. So what if I want to add only to the left and right? So I'll use padding X, that means in the X direction, if you think of it as a graph. So if I do that, I'll have that. Okay, so that is that. Then the same thing also applies for margin. So if I want to do my margin top, then minus maybe 6, so 6 times 4 is 24, so that means 24 pixel at the top. So you notice it has moved. So if I want to do, so I can have the margin left, so to have a margin left, of this, then so you can have your margin right. So let's see that. I see now you can have your margin bottom, so it's a margin left, top, right and bottom. So if I do this, I'm going to have this, but we don't have anything at the bottom, so you cannot see that. So but if I put just a margin like this, that it means a margin of 24 pixel all around, and that is why it's not at the center. Okay, so what if I want to add a background color to this? So to add a background color, can simply come here and add bg gray, maybe 400. So if I do that and save, I will have this. So let's make it more lighter. 100. So I'll have this. Then what if I want to add a border radius? So I can add rounded. Is how you add border radius. Rounded. So if you just add rounded, it will have, I think, is there about 4 pixels. So if I put 2XL, that is about 16 pixels. But of course, if you want to add your own custom one, the same principle applies. You add your angle bracket, then I can add 30 pixels. So you see, so that's how easy it is to work with our Tailwind. So now let's quickly learn about responsiveness with this. So we'll first of all start with a text. So let's go to our responsive mode. So let's go to our responsive mode. So let's say for the H1, I want it such that on desktop mode it is to be showing red. I mean, now when you are using Tailwind to do responsiveness, you should remember that it uses the mobile first approach. So whatever CSS you put is for all screen, and it is like the mean width. So you know, a mean width start from the minimum width and scales upward. So if there's no breakpoint, so it will show for all screen. So whatever CSS that you're adding is like the mobile view first. So this our red now is a mobile view. So if I wanted to change a color on the tablet view, what I'm going to do now is this. So let's just learn about responsiveness there. Then we are going to apply it to flex, then use it to do exactly what we have on our Figma design. So what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to come here. So for the text, the color is red. So what I'm going to do now is for the medium screen, I want my text to be let me use the color I can remember, black. Then for the large screen, I want the text to be blue, 500. So you notice what will happen now. So the same principle apply now. This is the responsiveness for what? For just the text. If I want the font size to also do the same thing, so I can put my text MG, I put what will happen when it is on that breakpoint. Then even the alignment too. So you can be flexible, but the principle is, now that we want to use it to test for just the text color, so by default this is the mobile view, this is like the tablet view if I want to use that criteria, and this is for like the desktop view. So if I do that and go to my browser, you notice for the large screens it will be like this, and for the medium screen it will change to black. I see. Then for the mobile screen, you see it changes to what? To red. Now let's apply this principle and make this our work responsive, this one. So let's say I want to increase the width of this so that it will be full. So let's go there. So let's now, just like in our height, so if I make this now, so I add my cursor here, add here, add here, add here. So I'll add that my width should be full. This means it should try to occupy a width of 100%. So let's see how it will look like. So you notice how it looks like now. It has stretched all the way. So this is how it looks like, the flex item. So let's say on our mobile view, so if you want a gap to be there, you can add a gap here. So gap of 3, that is 12 pixel. So if you do that, so the gap is not showing because I think it's full. And there's already a margin there, so that is why I guess it's not showing. So let's remove this padding first. Let's see. So I don't think there's a space for the width to show because of this width. But in case I don't want to use this full, so let's troubleshoot. Let me say I want to use the width of 70%. It's too big. So let's just leave it as full. So depending on what you want to do, you can. But if we use a lesser width, let's say width of 20, let's see how it will look like. You see? So because we are using, so by default, if the width is much, it will just become full. So if we use 40, see, we have that. Okay, so that is for that. Let's try max. I think the percentage is, let's use 200 pixels. Okay, so we'll use something like this. So you'll notice as we move closer, so let's say at this mode I want it to have a flex wrap, so that the next one can move to the next line. But at the mobile view, I want it to be in block. So remember, you start from the mobile view and scale upward. So what I will do here now is this. So we just added flex, so I'll add by default the flex direction. Add that flex direction should be column. So if I do this, you notice how it will look like now. It will all be in color. Then I will also let's add the height. So the height should be full. Let's see how that looks like. So the height should be full. Then we have this, but we want from, so you see now the mobile view, and we want the width here to be full too. So the width here, we want that to be full. So if I do that, I will have this. Nice. So what I want now is, this is the mobile view and it looks nice like this, but on the next view, I want to change the flex direction to row. So let's see how that works. So we'll come back here. So on the medium screen, I want the flex to be row. So if I do that, let's see how it looks like. So you see, it's now in row. I see how it looks like. It's now in row. Then on this same mobile view, so I will come here too. I'll put my MD. The height should be fit content. So if I do that, let's see how it will look like. So it will be like this. I see how it looks like now. Then I want it not to be, I want it not to be 4 like this. Then we also want on this, on this mobile I think I'm making it I also want on this, because what I actually want to do was to do that for 3 screens. So what I actually want to do is, because this flex is very, very important when you're working with a Figma design. So what I actually want now is, we want our flex wrap to not take place. So what do we want here? So let's add our flex wrap. So we come to the parent here. For before the medium screen, so we have our flex no wrap. So that means there should not be wrap. But on our medium screen, flex, there should be a wrap. So if I do that, so let's see how the output will look like. So you see how it looks like now on the next screen. But we now want to reduce the width for our medium screen. So the width for our medium screen should not be full. So the width, so at MD, the width should be like 500 pixels. So if we do that, let's see what we have. It's too much. Let's use 300. Let's use 300 pixels. So now you see what we have now. We have something like this. Nice. So you see that flex wrap stuff. So only when it can contain. So that is now it is showing like this now because of this flex between. And actually, let's see. For the height, we don't need it to be fixed, so that the two heights will be sure. So let's make it full. So it can be shown like this, but that is white. So we can also make it to be responsive. We can say the mean height should be maybe 100 pixels. So it just take this mean height. So let's see how it looks like. It still overflows. So we just make it to fit the content. The mean height seem to have, just use height of fit so that you fit the content, and this is also responsive friendly. Then the last one now is on the mobile view. So you see that on the mobile view we don't even need to write any code, but see how it looks like. So this is how we make our responsiveness using Tailwind. So you see how responsive friendly it is. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you now based on the slide is adding custom colors, font family, and custom font size. So let me show you that. So if I want to add a custom color, so remember we saw something like custom before up here. So let's go back to that place, our custom colors. So if I go to that point, you see the custom colors you can add. Then this is the color point. So inside your theme you're going to add colors, then configure your color platelet here, then using custom colors. So I can have something like this. It should be transparent, it should be this. So what I usually do is just to copy this this line of code, the colors, have them there. Ctrl C. Then I'll go back to my Tailwind. But if you don't need those extras, you can remove them. Let's see. So inside the extend, you have this. So now let's say I'm working with a Figma design. So let's open a Figma design. So how many minutes have we used? 1 hour. So let's say I'm working with a Figma design. So let's open a Figma design. So this is your assignment. So it's loading. So let's use this as the means to learn. So let's say I want to add, you see that this color is almost everywhere, so I'll hold my control. Then if I go down one more, I think let me click on this. So you see the color now. Shame it's not this. So I can get that color from there. Okay, I think I've gotten it. So this is it. So let's say I want to use this now on my Figma design. Sorry, excuse me. So all I need to do is come here, do Ctrl Shift. I'll just duplicate that. Then I'll put this as my primary color and paste that. So let me look for another one. Then this other one, let's see if it's black. So it's just number black, so we can use the Figma default. So let's look for another color that we can use here. Let's see. So this is like a foreground color. So I can have that too. So I'll paste it here. Now change it to like my secondary color. Let's look for another one. So I think those are the two we can use. So it's the same foreground color. Okay, so we have those two colors now. So if I want to use them on my project, what I need to do now is to come here and put maybe a p tag, say Lorem 5 or 4, then give it a class, and I'll say text, then I'll just put my primary pri. So this means it will now have that color. So I'm not seeing the color. Oh, I have not saved. So if I save that, I go back after I finish refreshing. So you notice I'm not fast in the video because I want it to be a slow pace one, so that this is it. It's actually showing. So if I add the background, so let's say I want to add a background, so I'll just put my BG sec, which is my secondary color. So if I do that, you notice it will have that BG, but you will not see it because but it's there. So this is how we add our custom colors. So if the Figma design that you are working with has a style guide, then you can just easily do all those stuff. So you'll be using your custom. Then the font size, so let's go to the Figma design. So we have our spacing, so you can also include your spacing. So by default is 8. Then so if you also want to add your font size, you can also do that, but I believe using that the square bracket will just do the job, because the font size, you unless you observe that the font size may be like 10 pixels, you're using it more often, or like a width, then you can just add that. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you lastly here is adding a custom font family. So let's look for how to add a custom font family. So for the project here, we have a custom font family of, I think is, let's see this one, is it Poppins. If you look at this one too, you see Poppins. So you come to here, you look for Poppins. So look for Poppins Google font. Then you go to get, then get embed code. So I'll just copy this. So along with this, it's not only the, I think it's the Poppins, so excuse me. So I'll just copy this line of code, go to my index.html, just like we did in our HTML, and paste here, then save. Then the last thing is I need to go to my React, my Tailwind.config, then I will extend this now to include font family. So if I want to add my custom font size. So it's just, let me show you that one since it's in the slide. So the custom font size, so I can have like lean, I can have quote, then pixel. So you can also decide to just add 18. You have quote 18 pixel. So that is for the font family. Then for the font size, and the font family can just add popping, then quote. Now add the exact name that you have here. So if you come here, you will see this popping. So I'll just copy this exact name, Ctrl C. So you shouldn't spell it wrongly. So that is how I've added it. So let's look for another funny one. Like each time I'm testing if I have a font family, I usually look for the one that doesn't look like the normal font family. So when you add it, to be obvious that you've actually added a font family. So let's look for one that is more obvious, maybe a little bit stylish. Okay, let's use this one. Everyone has. So this one, once you see it, you know this is not a regular system font. So once you do that, you actually know that you've added something. So let's use that as, so I do that again, and I don't know if it's a, so you see this one includes my poppins and this one. So because this is repeating, I can clean up the old one, but if you like, you can still leave it. But if you notice, I see my poppins here. So what I'm going to do now is, so what is the name of this font family? So you go to your I think is here is, so I just name it Edu. So I'm going to copy exactly this, Ctrl C. So I'm going to name this font family Edu, because that is so Edu. Then I'll clean all of this and paste. Then of course don't forget to add your comma. So I've done that. So let's begin to use this now. So let me go back to here. So I'm going to duplicate this. So I'm going to give this color of gray. So let's just use a text color. So text should be green 500. So now I want to add a font of Edu, so that will add that there. Then here I want to add a font of popping. So you must use the exact same spelling. So let's check. Popping. So that's it. So if I do that, let's go back to the output. So you're going to notice we've added that. So this is that of the edu and this is that of the popping. So that's how I add your custom font family. Then if we want to test our font size, so I can put text 18, you remember. So if I do that, the font size is going to increase. So if I put lean, which is going to reduce, I see. So that is how we've come to the end of this video. I know it's quite long, but I chose this space so that you can follow me along, which is one of the key when you are learning something new. You have to practice at a pace that you're getting it. So of course, if you're practicing the video, feel free to always pause and get something right. Now you notice that the IntelliSense, which would have made this a little bit faster, failed me. But due to I'm using Tailwind recently for all the jobs I'm doing, so I was able to record by memory and also by referencing the docs. So please, you can always reference these docs to get what you want to do with maximum speed. So that is it for this video. So in the next video, we are going to learn how to do routing in our React. So see you then.